Welcome, everyone, to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night Creator Convos. I'm Noel Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved.
Hi, everybody. It's Bob. Delighted to have Renee with us this evening. We're all teachers, we're all students, and we know from our time at the Co-Creators Convergence in Costa Rica that Renee is one of our favorite teachers. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. And I'm going to give a more formal introduction of Renee Renick, our dear CCC member. And oh boy, she has quite a resume. She has so much information, a beautiful presentation for us tonight. And we'll get to that shortly. But what I'd like to do now is tell you a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence and also what we have coming up this month. I'm just very excited about everyone who comes here and shares their gift to the shift in humanity. So please stand by. Welcome again, everyone, for coming. And you can just turn off your video, just relax. And Renee has a wonderful presentation for us tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about Renee Renick. She's going to be talking to us tonight about the currency of change, and she's an alchemist. And she's going to be talking about better understanding of our personal power for change, processes for tapping into the frequency of changing states, and also emotional intelligence and navigating the emotional terrain. Renee Renick is a motivational speaker for self-empowerment through the healing arts, goddess self-image photographer. Oh, wow, I've seen those. Those are hot. They are so good. She's a holistic shaman healer-practitioner, author, and registered nurse. She has a unique gift of bridging the practice of Eastern medicine to the practice of Western medicine for healing and understanding of psychosomatic body-mind illness and disease. She has been teaching courses in mind-body for the last 33 years. Of course, she's not that old. Her own personal journey from pain to purpose, that is really pain to purpose, has led her on a quest to find a health and wellness lifestyle supported by energy alchemy processes for change, self-discovery, self-healing, and self-maintenance. Her soft-spoken voice has been instrumental in assisting clients to go deeply and calmly into creative visualization and imagery. So we have a lot that we're going to be covering tonight, and I've just scratched the surface. You can learn more about Renee Renick. We have her website there. And right now she's using primarily Zoom, but that is in the chat, and you are most welcome to find out more about this amazing woman. So Renee, welcome so much. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to turn the talking stick over to you. I know you have a lot to share tonight, so over to you, Renee. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Noel and Bob, and the Co-Creators Convergence. And it's been an exciting little process to pull all this information together. I have really enjoyed myself. And that when I thought of the title, Currency of Change, I thought, I don't know if it's going to make much sense, but it did to me. And I love physiology. I love the practice of change. And I really think if we understood our physiology, we would be more apt to want to really understand why change is so important. What I'd like to start off with, though, is a visualization so that we can kind of all come together and breathe and have learn a few of the little modalities through this process, too, that you can use to create currency and change. So if you're not already seated, it's a good idea to find a comfortable seat and close your eyes. We're going to be taking 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose, smelling the roses and holding it for 4 counts. 2, 1. Exhaling, blowing out the candles. 2, 3. Hold it again for the count of 4. 2, 1, and repeat this 2 more times. Inhaling and smelling those roses. 3, 4, holding it for the count of 4. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, blowing out the candles through pursed lips. And then holding it for 4. 2, 3, 4. Again, even deeper. 2, 3, 4. And exhaling. 2, 3, 4. And holding. 2, 3, 4. And just begin breathing in a normal pattern for yourself. And I'm going to ask that you imagine that out in front of you, there's a column of brilliant white light. And that this column brings itself to right in front of you, and you're able to step into it, like stepping into a warm shower, and you feel it bathing you in the white light, breathing in the white light, and feel it activating your cells. Feel it cleansing the fibers and particles of anything that is unlike love. And now feel it soothing your skin as you absorb the healing properties of the white light, becoming one with the white light, luminous, expanding your aura and your consciousness, unbinding, untethering from the thoughts and experiences of anything that is unlike love. And as you stand in the presence of your own column of 100% pure white light that is purely yours, imagine a rainbow's end settles gently in front of you, those translucent, beautiful colors of the rainbow. And as you gaze softly on them, one in particular captivates your attention, and you invite that color into the column. Let it circulate around you. Let it bathe you in its loving and healing energy, knowing that it is the color you need at this time to balance you inside and out. Using your senses, see the frequency surrounding you. Breathe in the fresh scent of ionic vibrancy. Hear the message that it speaks to you. And feel the ever-flowing waves of this color caressing you. You can taste the crisp ionic field that you stand in. Fill yourself with this gift of color designed to bless you, love you, and saturate your being with loving insight, activating the codes of wellness and transmutation within you, knowing that nothing is ever lost, only brought into awareness when it is needed. Slowly breathe in that beautiful color and bring yourself back to the room that you're in, breathing yourself back into the body, feeling yourself on the surface that supports you, feeling your feet, tongue to the roof of your mouth, ground yourself, wiggle your toes and fingers. And when you are ready, and only when you feel ready and present, with a deep grounding breath, come back into the room, into the body, and open your eyes. You can stretch, you can settle in, but how do you feel? What color did you see? How easily was it for you to shift into your imagination? Did you experience a change in your breathing pattern? Perhaps maybe a new current of energy flows more relaxed, and we're now all on the same plane. Notice what's changed within your body. For me, I find a lot of times I'm wearing my shoulders for earrings. And by the time I have allowed myself some cleansing breaths and some imagination, I find my shoulders are back in place and I have a more relaxed sense about me. So recognizing your breath and your awareness as you expand your energy fields. Tonight, I wanted to see if I can move this cursor. Oh, there it goes. I'm back. Noel told me to use my mouse, but I only have a finger, so that's what we're going to work with tonight. So the all we be, what does that mean? We're going to find out, because we are so much more than we think we are. We start with the introductory imagery, and it flows into currency. We're going to talk about what that is. We're going to talk about exchange and how that works, and change, how we turn our wave into particle, using our senses and elements, and our energy alchemy. So this is the column of white light that I visualize, just effervescent and flowing, and something that I stand in, and it just bathes my presence. Adding in colors of the rainbow just only enhances that. All because I would like to change state. I would like to know how to do that. So when I look at this picture, we all have things that we want to change. We all have things that we want to find new solutions for. But one of the things that I start with is being for what I want, not against what I don't want. So when I look at this list, I don't choose to think of stop negative self-talk. I would choose to think, I speak loving words to myself. I honor the dialogues I carry within my soul. I would try to change those words to be more indicative of what I would like to have rather than what I don't want to have. Because this life is a test. It's only a test. And if it had been an actual life, you would have received further instructions about where to go and what to do. So because we're all just here as students, just give yourself some grace. This is a test. We're learning every day. So shifting our energy field can be as easy as what we started with, cleansing breaths, creative visualization. But what we're doing is shifting the energy field from that which does not serve our highest and greatest good to an energy field that supports our growth and well-being. That's called change. And we learn to manage our energy so that we can change in a very spontaneous and easy way. Part of the things that began my journey, which I have labeled provisions for the journey, are learning things that I didn't know. We're learning how to become a more positive person, which starts with thought, learning what my perceptions are, how they drive my world, learning how I am at choice and I'm accountable for the choices that I do make, cause and effect. We don't often see ourselves as the cause of something, but we often feel the effect of our choices. So just looking at cause and effect from even a relative way, gravity. If I walk off a building, I'm going to have an effect because I have to follow the law of gravity as well. There's abundance and gratitude, health and healing, and harmony and rhythm. Those are all part of the universal principles that guide our learning and our being here. So we're going to talk about currency as this invisible force of energy. Because we live on this planet, we're part of an electromagnetic planetary field, EMF. It's part of our makeup. It's all around us. But what we're looking at is the electricity, the current that runs through that electromagnetic field. And it's not always visible, right? It's invisible force. I know that I have a plug, and I know that I have a socket. And if I plug my vacuum in, I've got electrical energy running to my vacuum so that I can use it to clean my floors. We are part of that electromagnetic planetary field. We're also a bioelectric field. Our human body is receiving and sending life force energy all the time in every direction. We know that our heart can be measured in its electrical field by an electrocardiogram. We also know that our brain cells, our neurons, our synapses, our dendrites, our myelin sheaths, all the things that are created in this tiny, tiny little brain cell is neuroplasticity. It's a neural network of electric movement, currency. And there are billions and billions of these throughout our brain and our body, because what science has found also is that you have kind of a sense of brain cells in all of your body. Your toe knows a lot of things. And if I stub my toe and I feel it in my toe, I also have the sensation within my brain of what I've just done. And I have the sensation through my nerves of what I have just done. So there's always a current running inside of us. We can measure those brain waves. Beta is more of a frequency, maybe ranging from 13 hertz to 20. And then alpha is the next layer. And you can see with these brain cells or these brain waves that their pattern gets more spread out as you go down. So beta is for the thinking mind. Alpha is for more of a daydream, meditative state. Theta is a really powerful brainwave that we can tap into at will if we learn how to do this. And that's where healing takes place. And delta is where deep sleep takes place. It's like a 1 hertz to 4 hertz. In our sleep cycle, we're only going to be in delta for maybe about the first 90 minutes, and then we're going to ramp up and ramp down a little bit and ramp back up, spending the majority of our night in theta alpha states for our rapid eye movement and dream state. In my lifetime, I get to see that we've added a 5th brain wave, and it's gamma. And gamma is a really quick, intense brainwave that they have found happens when we're in peak states, highly creative, highly active, in the zone. So that's kind of cool that we get to see these new changes happening too. The top part of the slide actually is talking about how before the age of 9, we are in theta. And we're in theta because it's a wide open receptive brainwave pattern. You could see how the brainwaves were so wide and spread out. That is a very receptive brainwave. And so for children, because we all come as children, we come in an equal playing field. We get to soak up, we get to learn from our authority figures around us, and we get to lay down the hard drive in our brains. And it's a simple area too, in that we're emotional, but we don't have all the labels that adults put on different emotions. It's mad, glad, sad, scared, until you become an adult, and then you add 100 other labels for just mad, or 100 other labels for sad. And it becomes a little bit more complex then, because we have created neural pathways that hold all of that emotional material. During sleep, we'll spend our time, as I said earlier, in alpha to do our rapid eye movement. And rapid eye movement is important because it's helping us to sort out all of the issues that happen during the day. It's helping us to sort them and put them in the places within the brain where they go. And in our dreams, we're oftentimes working out issues that we haven't dealt with during our waking time. If you'd like just a short introduction to theta, theta can be arrived at in a conscious state without going to sleep by rolling the eyes after you close the lids up, as if you're looking towards the crown of your head. And by holding that in a very relaxed and gentle state, the brain starts to switch into a theta wave. And if you have deep intentions about healing, or if you're listening to healing music, if you're listening to healing affirmations, if you have recorded yourself talking about the different healing states that you want to happen in your body, it's more receptive and open and taken in during a theta state. We practice theta healing by actually going into guided meditation that way. So this is one of my absolute favorite pictures, because this is the two ends of a dendrite. They come together to share and connect. And what they're sharing here is chemicals. So in the synaptic cleft, what you're seeing here is how we get wired and how we experience things. These dendrites, one is giving and the other is receiving. And it's not just giving and receiving that way, because let's say you oversaturate, you give too much. If the body can't use it, then it will go back the other way, and it's called reuptake. So your body has these amazing systems already in place to figure out how to balance what you're needing. I gave you too much, I'm going to take some back. However, when we give ourselves chemicals, when we give ourselves medications and different things, the body might not be able to respond to those as quickly. So sometimes there's a toxic or a lethal level. We also have like these 12 systems in the body. I want you to understand how much your body is having to do, and how it's always, always, always in a currency, in a current of electrical activity. You'll see the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. I generally put those together when I'm understanding scientific, systems, because the other system that's not up here that I think is highly important is also the immune system, because your immune system does this great job of just trying to keep you healthy. So we learn some responsibilities of things that we are, and how can we take care of ourselves better. 60% of the human adult body is water. And I know there's so many of us co-creators that honor and respect the water, that want to see our water stay clean and pure for all the next generations. But we also know that there are climate change going on, and there are organic and inorganic pollutants that are always happening through the air, through the water, through the land. So for us, if the brain and the heart are composed of water, it's like 73%, and if the lungs are, about 83%, we don't always know the exact measure, because everybody's body composition is different. But Water is needed to also conduct fluidity, to also conduct electricity. So drinking water, staying hydrated and all that is really important to how well we can maintain the current in our body. We also have the ever-moving etheric and the auric and the chakra system and the meridian system. I hope you're starting to see that we have a whole lot of stuff going on that we don't always pay attention to in any given moment. And that's the beauty of what our bodies do, is they run all of this in the background. And if we had to stop and continue to tell our heart to beat, there would be no life that we could enjoy or experience, and we'd probably get tired and we wouldn't be here anymore. So just looking at the systems that you are made up of and how they are all about current, they are all about change. Not one of those systems ever is just completely the same all the time. Our goal is homeostasis, balance, having, a harmony of all of these systems working together. But most of the time we get in our own way, right? We will choose to not go to sleep when we're tired. We'll choose to eat foods we know that aren't good for us. We'll choose to not practice our breathing. We'll choose to maybe self-medicate with things that maybe aren't good for us either. We indulge, and part of the practice of indulgence and entitlement, all of those things, is we got to pay some taxes. And our taxes are going to be maybe weakening our immune system and catching a cold. We have to pay some taxes. Or maybe we're tired and not paying attention and we drop a glass because we weren't fully engaged in holding that glass. So now we got to clean up all the mess and we got to pay some taxes. So we were never designed to have a life without any type of disruption or distortion. And that's where I think some of us get into emotional states, because we get disappointed that our bodies or our lives are letting us down to some degree, when we really are the ones that are creating those lives. So to stay in the currency, we want to understand that we have a currency, we have an exchange, and we have the change from that. So starting with thoughts in those 7 universal principles, thoughts create. And we are always exchanging thoughts. We never just hold one thought. We have all kinds of thoughts all the time, like random thoughts and purposeful thoughts every single second of the day. Sometimes we have thoughts that we say, well, where did that come from? That is not anything I want to be thinking. What I've learned is that I cannot control my thoughts. I can manage them as best I can, but I can't control them. And so giving up the idea that I need to control those thoughts and just merely being an observer, watching them and looking at them, I can see where my exchanges are happening. We exchange our thoughts for emotions. We exchange waves for particles. And this is another part of the currency within us. Waves are thought forms. The thoughts are waveforms. They turn into particles when we add emotion, and those emotions through the synaptic gap there are sending chemicals and bathing our body in whatever the emotion is that we're holding and that we are creating. And we are creatures of habit. We have our favorite emotions. We have our go-to emotions. We have triggers that send us into a spiral of emotions because we're human and we have had many, many experiences in our life. We exchange emotions for those chemicals, and this is the manifestation process of how our thoughts create our reality. So what is reality? We're going to find out. But first, what I want to talk about is I used to want to, well, I used to judge quite a lot. And then I remember learning that maybe judgment isn't so good. Don't judge, right? So I'm being for the thing that I'm against. And then I realized our brains are designed to judge. And they do so because that's part of our survival. If I had to stop and think about every single thing that came into my purview without making this instantaneous judgment about, is it safe? Is it going to harm me? Is it a threat? Is it a danger? I probably would not survive. So throughout time, our brains have adapted into this system of three really good things. We compare, we find similarities, and we find differences. And all of that happens in a nanosecond by our reticular activating system, which helps choose what we pay attention to. If I walked into a room and I saw a red ball, that doesn't present a danger to me. It's different. I probably would wonder where the ball came from. But if I walked into a room and I saw something moving in the corner, that would make me light up with, what is it? Is it a snake? I gotta tell you, I jumped. I jumped. Yesterday I was at the grocery store, and I won't tell you which one because it's in Denver and it wouldn't matter to you. I saw a mouse, and the mouse ran right across in front of me and jumped into the cookie section. And all I could think was, I am never buying cookies here, ever again. And so when we look at reality, that was a reality. The mouse was a reality. It's not threatening to me. Well, maybe if I thought it had a disease or something, I might not want to be around it, but it's not threatening to me. Now, if I saw, I went to grab a bag of cookies and saw that there was actually a black widow web there with a black widow in it, then I would be a little bit more suspect because I know those can really hurt me. So that's all going to happen in a second too. What happens when we get scared? Our whole body lights up without us even having to do a thing. We have, well, I'll give you an example. If we walked down the street at night by ourselves in an area of town we didn't know, and we walked by an alley and we heard something rattle down the alley, immediately we're going to be alarmed. And immediately our pupils are going to dilate, our heart's going to start beating faster, we're going to start oxygenating our large muscles, and we're going to have the hair on our body stand erect, and we're going to pull all of the energy that we have into those large muscles so that we can run, we can fight, or freeze. And that's part of our sympathetic nervous system that creates that fight-flight system so that we didn't have to think about that. But look at all the things our systems and our body did just because of the thought of threat. We have perceptions around that too. But I love this definition of what is reality. It's if two or more people agree on an illusion, it could be a reality because truth is subjective. So if something happens in my world and I tell somebody else about it and they validate my experience and that's exactly how they feel too, I have a reality. What's dangerous about reality is it drives us sometimes into separation. And we can see that in our political arena. There are a lot of people agreeing on certain things that one party thinks is just an illusion, but the other party thinks it's reality. And so we have this division and separation because we are not in agreement in our realities, right? Because truth is subjective. So if I believe in conspiracy theories, and I find a couple other people that believe in conspiracy theories, then conspiracy theories are true because that's a reality. So we want to be checking in on our realities to see, are they real? I mean, is this something I've adopted in my past? Because I've got neural pathways that have been laid down that are holding all of those experiences and beliefs and patterns and perceptions for me. At some point, I want to know what's my truth. And I will know that, not necessarily by the thought first, but by what I'm feeling, my emotion. And what we know is emotion is still a currency. It's always changing. There's never really a moment in our worlds that we don't have some emotion, maybe even several emotions at the same time. And so I like to break that word into two parts: emotion, energy in motion. Once I get bathed in emotional chemicals, everything is flowing and cycling and circling around, and I'm in an emotional state. So that's the currency of exchange, and emotions are the key ingredient. Energy follows thought, and matter follows energy. I like how simple this just displays that what we think about expands. What we think about and put energy into turns into a particle. Everything that's around you in your room was once a thought in someone's head, and they thought, I'm going to create a pillow, I'm going to create a couch, I'm going to create a computer, I'm going to create a light, I'm going to create a glass, I'm going to create paper. Those were all thoughts before they became materials. And so the energy followed the thought that created the matter. What we think about and hold and put emotion to actually turns into behaviors and patterns and actions, and oftentimes into material objects. So we were talking about some of the things that keep us in a current state and the action steps that get us there. We did some breath work in the beginning. We did some cleansing breaths. Later, we'll do the breath of 9. We did a creative imagery, the 100% column of pure white light. We added in some rainbow colors. Science has determined that what we can create in our mind is creating within our body that reality. So if I am a track star and I want to get better at my sport, they are finding that if I practice this creative imagery, and if I see myself running, and if I see myself running fast, and if I see myself crossing the finish line, I have a greater chance of improving my skill and being able to actually do that. It's our brains are super powerful and important in that way. I also think when we create value, we see our world in a different way. If we are judging it to be less than, we're going to see it that way. If we are creating value with our experiences, we're going to see them as something purposeful, something that we're learning from, something that we're growing with. Setting intention, we're going to talk about that later too, is one of my favorite ways of changing the way I feel and getting the results I would like to manifest. So just to ask a question in your own minds, what do you think intention is? How do you set an intention? For me, it's getting really specific with knowing what I want. I can set an intention, and I can ask for something to be very vague. I can pray for success. But in that process, I wasn't really specific. I can have success around me. I can pray for money. Walk down the street and I find a quarter. I got what I asked for. But if it wasn't the denomination that I was hoping for, then I need to be more specific about what it is that I really want. If we want to have a functioning body and a functioning mind, and we want all of our systems to be online, then we need to be specific with the things that we want and the things that we can do to get that. And the energy alchemy is taking our pain to purpose, taking the things that cause us disappointment and discouragement and sadness, grief, anger, whatever it is, we can know by the emotion what it is that we want to change. For me, it's more, what is my body feeling? Because if my body is hurting in any way, I have some work to do. That's a message. I'm given love notes all the time from my body. It's asking for change. Can we do something differently so this doesn't hurt? Can we do something differently so you don't feel tired? Can we do something differently so you're not feeling stressed? That the body wants to work with you, and we're going to look at that. So this is turning our lead to gold in an alchemy state. When have I ever is another process that we can use. And I love this one too. And I have to practice this on a daily basis. So I'm going to be transparent. I was late for work and I was driving along. And I think one thing that sets a lot of us off really easily is people who don't drive the same way we do or the way we want them to. And this person was turning left. There was no sign on the lights that said you can't turn left on a green light. And yet they chose to wait for the green arrow to come on minutes and minutes later. And I was behind them. And I'm like, what are you doing? There is nothing that says you can't turn left, and no one is coming. You can turn left. And I was getting to that grrr stage. And then I have to stop and say, okay, just breathe. When have you ever done something while you're driving that the person behind you didn't appreciate? I've done that. So I and everyone have done the things that we don't like, and yet we think that it's being done to us. You know, it's causing us some form of disruption and disappointment, and we get to pay some taxes again. Do we want those chemicals running through our body and creating our day to start off, in a poor way? Or do we want to get real with ourselves, check our reality and say, well, when have I ever done that? Maybe somebody stole something from you. When have I ever taken something from someone, knowingly or unknowingly? Have you ever taken a pen that you were filling out a form? You walked out the door with it, not even realizing it wasn't your pen. Not all of us take it back. Some of us do. Have you ever done these things in your lifetime? Yes. When have somebody lied to you? When have I ever lied to somebody knowingly or unknowingly? Whether it was a white lie or a real lie, I'm still capable of that. So once again, my humanity, my humanness is something that I get to look at and pay taxes and work on and forgive myself. So that's a good one for me. Forgiveness and grace is the ability for me to say, I forgive myself for the errors in thinking that caused me to judge myself and others, knowingly and unknowingly. We all have erroneous zones. We all have errors in thinking. We all make mistakes. To think that we don't is an illusion. But I know a lot of people who have illusions that think they're always right. I used to be one of them. What if we could simplify our lives by asking one question for any given event? How can this teach me to love more deeply and forgive more completely? If those are the only two things that we were down here on this planet to learn, I'm not saying it'd be easy, but it would simplify the process of learning and growing in compassion, empathy, honesty, transparency, authenticity. It would really make a difference. What we never want to do is ask our subconscious information, why? Why did I do that? Why did that happen to me? Why was he rude? Why is she looking at me? All of the why questions are going to be answered by your subconscious information. That's probably not the answer that you're going to want to hear, but it can still be something that we can turn around and say, how can this teach me? How can this experience teach me something? How to love better, forgive, how to be more compassionate and empathetic. How can it teach me? Because by asking those questions, we're not going totally inside. We're also pulling from our subconscious or our conscious information, our super conscious information that connects to our higher self, and getting better information. Asking better questions gets us better information, and that keeps the energy flowing. It keeps our current from source down to Mother Earth, from Mother Earth back up, back to source. It keeps us in a constant state of flow. So energy alchemy is this process. It's a lifestyle that helps us transmute experiences and emotions into fulfilling expressions of mind, body, and spirit. If we understand that energy never dies, it only changes form. It's like on your computer, you have ones and O's. You have stagnant energy, which is your lead in alchemy, and you have vibrant energy, which is your gold in alchemy. We all get stagnant energy from time to time because we haven't paid attention to a certain system. That's our humanity. But it shows up and it lets us know. If we can then change that energy into vibrant energy and create a current again and a flow again, we can continue to stay in a state that's more balanced. And then in physiology is going to lead us more into homeostasis. But we all have our barriers, our lead. We've all had experiences where we have built some heart walls, maybe some trust issues. We've had trauma. We've had hurts. We're resistant to new ideas and change because we like the way things are. What do we want to change for? We have a fear of the unknown, the lack of trust, a need to control. I have to do it myself, all of those kinds of things. Because we don't know the outcome, it becomes something that isn't appealing. But in humanity, these are taxes that we have to pay because things are going to change with or without us. And we are going to feel the brunt of that if we're not in the flow. Control, I don't know about you, but there was a time in my life when I would say, I have to do it myself. I just need to do it myself. If I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Nobody can do it the way I do it. Until Spirit gave me a lesson one day and it said, what is it actually, Renee, that you do by yourself? And I said, well, I can drive by myself. And they said, yeah, but you know, that car, that vehicle, the gas, that was all created by someone else. You didn't create the car. You didn't create the fuel. Okay. Well, I can eat. Well, sure, you can eat by yourself. You can put it in your mouth, but where did you get the food? Go to the grocery store. That's a convenience. Somebody had to bring that food there. Somebody had to fill those shelves. You didn't do that by yourself. I can breathe. Nope. The trees make the oxygen. You're just taking in what's being given to you in a generous and amount everywhere you go. And what I learned is I really don't do anything by myself. I collaborate with a lot of different things in this world. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I live in a home that was already created for me because I'm not really skilled at building homes. I enjoyed the luxuries and the conveniences of this day and age that I live in, but I also understand there's some taxes and people have had throughout this evolutionary process have contributed so much, and it wasn't always easy. And I'm reaping the benefit of all of that. So I'm very grateful that that currency was created in the beginning, and I still get to enjoy it. We were learning about change theory years ago at a job I had, and you know, change theory in a personal and business setting, it's all the same, because we are the common denominator for success or failure through any change process that we're going through. But allowing ourselves to buy into change and dream the future as we want it to be allows us to share in that creation. Buying into change is me just saying, I have all these systems that are working to try to keep me healthy and keep me alive. Why do I want to not contribute to that in a very positive way? Why do I want to or think I could abuse this beautiful body that has been created in a way that creates negativity or danger or threat? A shaman thinks of a couple of things that I wanted to share, and that's that we dream our future into being. We dream our future into reality. It doesn't say I have to have the reality first. It says I'm going to dream it. There are shamans who practice healing in a way that they go out in the future on these different timelines and they look for themselves in a healed and perfect way. Maybe this one has disease. Maybe this one doesn't. Maybe this one has a few things going on. Maybe this one has conquered a lot of different things. And they choose which path they're going to put their energy in as they dream into their future reality. Go out and find that part of you that's successful. Go out into the future in your dream state and find that part of you that has perfect health, that lives to a ripe old age, that has energy and mobility and flexibility. We can do that. And like we had talked about earlier with the athlete, the more time we spend in looking at ourselves doing the things that we know to want to do, or creating a way of healing ourselves through dream time, that's still going to have an effect. And this is kind of what it looks like. You know, you're this small little plant, but you're dreaming yourself into the future when you're going to be this strong tree. You're going to be this tree that provides shade and fruit and you know, withstands the winds, and that's your future that you're envisioning. The world operates by have, do, be, and that's a led state of being. And what I mean by that is the world says that if I want to be a dancer, I have to have what dancers have, which is training and education and a degree or certificate. So I have to do all those things that get me to that. And then I can be that dancer. Where the universe operates by saying it's be, do, have. You be the dancer and you do what dancers do, and then you have what dancers have. But you never stop being the dancer first. And when you ask any little child that's playing in an imaginative and creative way, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a fireman. I'm going to be an astronaut. They're 3 years old. I'm going to drive. My little grandson would get super excited about seeing big trucks with Pepsi, Coke, whatever it was traveling, fire trucks. They would just get so excited before they were even 1 year old. And they loved cars. They loved the engines. They loved the noise. You can't teach that. That's just within you, what you love, what's your preference. And do that thing. Be that person. This is one of the cool things too. The world says, my strength lies in my physical ability. The universe says, my strength and power lie within my spiritual ability, because spirit holds all the power, and it comes down to the mental field where there's the focus of what I want to create, and down into the emotional field where I can put direction to this creation that I want, into the physical field where I manifest. This is important for understanding how your body's currents work. If my spiritual self has this idea that I'm not worthy, and I bring that into my mental awareness, probably mostly unknowingly and subconscious, information, and I focus on my unworthiness, then my emotional state is going to direct that energy of feeling unworthy, all of the chemical cascade, the sadness, the depression, nobody loves me, I'm not good enough, down into the physical body. And the only thing the body can do is be obedient to the chemicals that it's receiving. It can't really say, I'm not going to listen to you today. It has to be obedient because it has to respond to the cellular information. And so the body's going to give you a message. It's going to start feeling depressed and down, and it's going to start feeling unmotivated. It may even start having headaches, neck aches, back aches. Those are your love notes to turn things around and get back into a current of vibrancy, love, and flow. I want to say right here, have you ever looked in the mirror and said, I don't like that? I don't like my nose. I don't like those freckles. I don't like something. I don't like those gray hairs that are starting to show up. Whatever it is that you think that you don't like about the body, imagine if the body, you don't like your body and you're saying, you're just not the body I was hoping to have. Imagine if your body could speak back to you and say, you're just not the mind I was hoping to have. All of our power is spiritual. We bring it to the mental, we move it into the emotional, and we send it into the body. And this is my fireman theory. If there is a fire hydrant on the corner, there is a flow of water in there. I can't see it, but it's there. I love that phrase. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there, it doesn't exist. And so the force of the energy is in that water that's building up in the hydrant. But it can't do anything until the fireman goes to the hydrant and starts to turn on the hose. And then that's where the focus comes in, because we're turning on the hose. Still no water's coming out because I haven't changed the nozzle, but now my hose is full, right? And so I get to direct the water through my emotional quality of energy to where I want it to go to put out the fire. But what if I just turn on the nozzle a little bit and it just goes boop? That's how a lot of us operate through life. We have dimmed we have this dimmer switch that we just turn down, and we don't show up energetically. We don't show up with our energy. We show up 20%. We don't show up 100%. That's this little nozzle that we control. But if I turn it on fully, I can put the fire out. So with this theory, we have the quantity, the quality, the focus, and the force of our energy. And at any given moment, we can ask ourselves, how open is my nozzle? Like, am I being effective out in the world? We can also look at it as a light switch that's got a dimmer. We've got all kinds of bulbs, 100-watt bulbs, 25-watt bulbs, 15-watt bulbs. If you're going to show up in the world as a 15-watt bulb, you're going to get back 15 watts, because we get what we put out. We get back what we put out. And that's not effective. So if you're shutting your energy down, it won't be long before your body lets you know that I'm dying, because there's no energy here. I'm not fully exchanging any currency. So lastly, I want to share with you the other currency, money, right? We have, isn't it interesting how it's called currency? And we exchange it with each other. We exchange for goods and services, or we exchange, I got a 20, can you give me, 3 5s and 5 1s? we can break it down. We can put it down into coins. I remember when I was in Argentina, there was coins all over the street, and I was just like, "Ooh, money! Like, why so much?" You know, because I didn't understand the value. And the person that I was with said, "Oh, those are given to the little kids to play with because they don't have any value." But this is money. I didn't understand then that, money can change based on its value, and it was constantly changing in Argentina. Um, so oftentimes we need a mentor to help us understand what is the value of the currency that we're using and utilizing in our lives. What do we need to do to get more current flowing? What do we need to do to manage our emotions and manage our thoughts and look at our perceptions and heal ourselves? So I love this because I came up with this 20 plus years ago, that if I had a bag of coins, I could use that imagery to change my emotional state. And I could feel and ask myself, what would I rather feel? And I do this a lot. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, I put that little coin in my palm, because coins have two sides. Okay, this is what I'm feeling, overwhelmed. And I ask myself, what would I rather feel? What's the opposite of overwhelm for me? Tranquility. And so I start to look at the tranquility, and I remember a time when I was tranquil, and I build upon that. Or I take myself to my happy place where I know I can create tranquility because it's my happy place. I love to go there. And it's this beach on Hawaii, on Maui, at sunset, looking across the ocean at the island of Lanai, and the soft breeze, and the smell of the floral scents that are in the air, and the soft waves. And I have some tranquility. And you can even see it change in my state, and change in the way I breathe, and change in the way I talk. So you can use it for anything, and it might be different for you. Angry. I'm just angry. There's 100 words for angry: pissed off, frustrated, whatever it is for you. What's the opposite of that? What's the opposite of angry for me? What would I rather feel if I didn't feel anger? Peaceful. I flip the coin into this palm, and I start to play and embellish in what peace would feel like, look like, taste like, sound like, smell like, and utilize all my senses to be able to flip the script and change my state of being. Everyone is, I can't say everyone, most of the people in this group are probably familiar with Power versus Force and the book. And I just wanted to show this as an emotional frequency line, because one of the lowest frequencies that we can experience would be apathy. Apathy's right before death, because you don't care if you live or die. You don't care if you breathe. You don't care if you eat. You don't care. So it's self-neglect. But as we go up this line of emotional frequency, we can see that one of the highest things we can feel is joy and harmony and worthiness, purity, peacefulness. We have so many wonderful words to describe emotion that we can use and tap into. So it's easier for me now, since I've practiced it for a while, to know that every emotion also lives in a place in my body. What brought me into my own healing was I had migraine headaches, neck aches. And I didn't know I was creating those with the way I was thinking, but I had a great mentor that taught me the healing process, taught me to look at those perceptions, patterns, beliefs, thoughts, and migraines went away. And I was just like, that's amazing. And we'd use the Louise Hay book and show where all the body things are, and what the affirmation meant, what the healing frequency was. I went through the whole Louise Hay book, and I had the chicken pox, I've had this, I've had that, and I had a long list of what I'd had, the lead, and I made a list of all the affirmations to teach myself a new language because I didn't know how to talk positive. I didn't know how to change a thought process. So I had these long list of affirmations that I would use as an educational way to catch myself in a negative thought process and turn it into a positive thought process, which is, again, energy alchemy. So you can use whatever it is that you think would be working for you. Energy alchemy recipes are just learning how to release whatever modality you're choosing to release energy, reframing the energy, taking it from the negative to the positive, the lead to the gold, and realizing that change is maintaining that. How do I create patterns of ways of being that keep me in that change loop, keep me growing and progressing? The Namaste principle is just that. And I was noticing while Noel was playing the Barbara Marx Hubbard, the CCC video, when Barbara is saying, you're a part of it all. You're all a part of the process. Every process, that's currency. We all are one. We all are in the currency. We all continue to manage how much we show up with our dimmer switch. Going to show up 5% today. Or I can up the switch to maybe I could try on 85% and see how comfortable that feels. Or maybe I could just show up 100% and play full on. See what that feels like. We have that ability to amp up our currency, our electrical ability, through a lot of different ways. So the Namaste principle is all that too. It's saying that I honor that place in you, which the entire universe dwells. That place in you, which the entire universe dwells. That place which is of love and light and peace, and truth. Those are awesome words that are a part of you in that universe that you dwell in, the entire universe. And when you're in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, we're flowing in the current of all that is, the all we be, we're one. I just love that. So I want to thank you for allowing me to share this visual, the physiology behind what's happening of the systems of our body that's supporting us through change, because there's never a time that the body is not in flow, not in currency, because if that were true, the body would be dead. Our spirit would be off to another adventure. But while we're here, we have the ability to take what is painful to us and move it into a purposeful energy that supports us, that's life affirming. And that's what I would like to thank you for letting me share these life affirming processes with you. So, back to you, Noel.
I'm going to invite everyone to go ahead. I'm going to make it so that you can turn on your video, start your video. You all have permission to do that and unmute yourself. Renee, your voice, your presentation, it felt like a lullaby where I learned so much, and how you progressed us through and where we the destination you got us to and the tools. Just fantastic. Really, really grateful. We've had good participation on Facebook and here in the room. And if anyone would like to make a comment or raise, we're just informal here. So if you want to just wave or give some appreciation to this beautiful, absolutely stunning presentation, go ahead.
How do I change it, Noel, so I can see everybody? I could only
Yeah.
see me.
And what you need to do is go on my computer, go to the upper right hand corner where it says view and change it to gallery. Or watch my replay and then you'll see everybody. I always record everything and
I want to see
it there.
everybody. I
Yeah,
want to.
there should be a gallery setting there.
Oh, okay.
I think you have her spotlighted. Right.
Well, that shouldn't make any difference.
There you are.
You're
You
there?
got us?
There? Okay.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
Okay. Christy, I know you want to jump in here. You had a comment, question along the way. Go ahead.
Well, this is my cup of tea. I really appreciate Renee. I loved your graphics and the PowerPoint, and everything was so clear, so like connected, and the wisdom in your wording, your choice of words. I just enjoyed it tremendously. It was excellent. You know, it was very uplifting and inspiring. And I mean, this is a lot of my work too, and in doing the higher frequency invitation, you might say, to rise to our best self, to create frequencies of love, feels of love through the connection. But I forget the one part. I was trying to remember you explaining about the interconnectedness of all, like that was really wonderful, where you said, you know, you explained why there is no such thing as I'm alone or I'm by myself. There is no doing it by myself. That's what it was.
That's really great.
That because everybody, especially now in America, we have such an individualistic, isolated, and then COVID, you know, just set us all apart in what felt like being apart for, I'm sure, many people.
Yeah.
And if you don't have real tools and skills to connect, or you don't have a lack of fear to reach out, you can get pretty isolated pretty quickly. So somebody could, some people can, you know. So anyway, that's why I love these communities, you know. So thank you, Noel and Bob. I appreciate the work
We
you
always
do.
love to have you here. And
I think a lot of people
yeah.
bought into the illusion of COVID. And
yeah,
we had 2 or more people that believed in it was a reality, right? And then we had a whole faction of people that were like, I don't believe in COVID. I'm not getting a vaccine. I'm not going to wear a mask. And we've learned there's a little bit of both, right? We kind of had to collaborate to keep each of us safe and healthy.
well, it was really done unto you as you believed. So really, whatever, because I noticed that in one of the first big, huge research studies that came out, the group that had the placebo, but did not, but thought they got the vaccine, had all kinds of problems because they may have believed that they were getting the real thing, and they may have had a judgment about it. And your judgment is what's going to impact those neuropeptide cocktails going through your body and go, oh no, the body's not happy with this.
Even if you didn't believe in germs, if your subconscious had a belief in germs, you know, you can tell you I don't believe in germs, but if your subconscious believes in contagions, that's where it goes.
Yeah, I forget who that physician was in LA who was trying to prove that out by he injected himself with the live virus, the live germs of 6 of the most deadly diseases on the planet. Nothing happened to him.
Well, didn't Buddha do that?
Possibly.
He drank poison and nothing happened.
Yeah.
A strong belief system.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it depends on what level of consciousness you're at when you're doing that. So
exactly.
And
how you get out to those other timelines with the shaman. I really love that too.
Yeah.
That and the fireman, your fireman story and example. That was really, really super. But I don't want to dominate anything. Anyone else want to jump in here? We've had some nice comments. Karen says, so beautiful, Renee, powerful wisdom. And Rosemary says, thank you, Renee. I enjoyed your presentation. Your slides are so lovely, and I'll have to agree. It's really beautiful. And don't be bashful. Hey, Robert and Becky, we're going to have them on next week. And
Awesome.
yeah, they're going to be in Costa Rica and show us their casa of amor and paz, peace and love. So be sure to come back next Thursday.
Awesome.
Anyone else? There was a question about truth, a small truth versus capital truth. And how do you?
Sheila just raised her hand.
Oh, okay.
Well, I actually, I mean, partly a comment. Renee, I feel like you just summarized a lifetime of learning into one quick PowerPoint. It was amazing, the breadth of everything you covered. I mean, so much of it was familiar, but I just love that you just summarized it so nicely and so well. Your wisdom really comes through. And yeah, I would notice the one with the recipes. I was like, oh my God, that could be like a whole presentation all alone, that one slide.
I could have talked for 8 hours, but I finally just threw the papers away and just went with the slide, because there's so much, and as a nurse and as a shaman and as a this and a that, how do you wrap up a whole world of learning, into a single presentation?
Well, you're always invited back, so don't. It doesn't have to be a single presentation. But one thing you didn't talk about, and I do want you to share, especially right now and for those on Facebook, is how does someone work with you? I know you're a full-time nurse and currently in Denver, but how does someone work with you? And do you work remotely? Do you work in person? Tell us about that.
COVID kind of changed a few things, and a lot of people went to remote work and Zoom, and I love doing live presentations, workshops, and events, but to help people all over, the planet where they are receive the information, I've been doing Zoom. I've also created some offers for anybody that wants to attend I mostly go through my Facebook page, my Earth Keepers Alchemy page. That's usually where people can find my events, or they can DM me, message me through Facebook. I check that, a lot. Or they can call me or email me, whatever they want to do. But mostly I like to use lives or FaceTime or Zoom to have sessions with people. FaceTime works for me if somebody has an iPhone or an iPad, just because you don't have to pay for Zoom and you can take a few hours, to really go deep with someone. I created a class that it's a compilation of what's called the One Command. And if anyone wants to take that class, it's been posted up on the Earth Keepers Alchemy Facebook page. And there's going to be a class that I'm offering called Inner Scripting, which goes deep into, like I mentioned, our hard drive is laid down before the age of 9. It goes into all of the perceptions of our subconscious information that drive our adult world, because you get to see what you put on your hard drive before you were 9. And people think, I don't remember, but the questions that are asked trigger the memory. So it's really a fascinating class, and it's going to be posted on Zoom, and it'll be probably a 4-week class just on a Sunday for a few hours at a time to give people that information. It makes a big difference. The more information you have, the more you can know about yourself. And each one of us is uniquely amazing. We just, I don't know. It's like when you uncover a secret about yourself, it feels like you've just uncovered buried treasure. It's just fun.
Wonderful. Does anyone else want to jump in here and have a question or comment for our wonderful guest? I do want you to mention, just because I'm so taken with your pictures, about your goddess photography. And I don't know if you have a screen share, you could show one, but it's
I
something.
I don't hear, but it has a story behind it. I got a download of how could women embody Mother Nature, feel her, like literally walk her along the earth through themselves. And I would bring it up to my I have a psychic friend, and I would just say, I want to do this. And he'd go, you need to do this. You've been talking about it for like 3 or 4 years now, Renee. Don't you think you should do this? And I said, I just don't know where to start. And he goes, all you have to do is pick a date for when you want to have your photo shoot. Because I wanted to start with me. I wanted to shoot this photo shoot to show what I was thinking, what was my creation. And so I did. I picked a date, and I didn't realize it was May 5th of 2000. And that I didn't realize it, I'll tell you, because I picked the date and everything kind of fell into place. The photographer showed up. I knew what I wanted in a photographer. I don't want to sound like biased, but I knew I wanted it to be a woman, just because I didn't think a man would like tell me if a hair was out of place or if a makeup had smudged or if something wasn't right. I just kind of felt like a woman would go, oh no, girl, we need to move that hair a little bit or something. And it worked out great because the person that was my photographer was a photographer for women, and she would even fix my hair sometimes. So I hired her to do the shoot, and we took 4 days, and we went out and did all of these really captivating. I mean, sometimes we hiked for 3 hours just to get one shot. And then the next year, because I always wanted to do a tabletop book, but the next year I was just walking by and my grandmother had the radio on, and this lady was on there, and I just stopped in my tracks. She goes, well, on May 5th, 2000, the goddess energy was ushered in to this planet. And I was like, wow, maybe that's why I felt like I was Mother Nature, like I was the goddess. It just was a total embodiment. And I thought if I could never do anything else in my life, I would do this. So that's what started that process. And then I started offering it for women as a way of not a glamour shot, but an essence shot. Like, who are you when you sit in the red rock and you wear, and even trying to figure out the costuming. It was like, you can't, Mother Nature wouldn't wear a zipper. She wouldn't button stuff. Kind of like the Venus de Milo drapes of fabric. And so I just went to the fabric store and started collecting different fabrics. And what most people really loved was the snakeskin fabric, because I would wrap them like a snake and they would just blend into the, because they each had a meaning. Mother Nature sheds her skin. We are the only ones who find it most difficult to shed skin like a snake all at once. We shed little drops and pieces of our lives. We give up a little bit of baggage here and a little bit of baggage there, but we don't cleanse. We don't shed it all at once. Anyway, there was just a lot of metamorphosis going on in there.
Wow, I am so glad.
But you can see a lot of those shots on my Facebook page. It's called Goddess Self Images. And that's where I usually post when I'm doing the goddess photography, which is seasonal, spring and fall. Summer's too hot most places, and
Goddess Self Images
Goddess Self Images
on Facebook. Just Google that or Facebook that. And
it's hard to be in a wrap and barefoot as a goddess in the snow. So there's just, it's hard to have drips of sweat coming down your face as a goddess in the desert. So I've just learned that it's seasonal. But so I offer it in the spring and the fall.
Well, I hope everyone, looks up. Oh, I think Bob just put one in the chat there.
Oh my, yeah.
Bob, could you screen share that?
The one is from her Facebook page, is from Renee's Facebook page, and one is from the Earth Keepers Alchemy.
Well, can you, can
Sure,
you
sure, sure. Yeah.
screen share it? I just want you all to get an idea. But while he's doing that, Renee, the breath, I hope everyone goes in the event announcement. I did have, your bio, and it's so extensive in so many different areas, and how you wrap this all up and bring the Eastern, the Western, the shamanic all together, and
And the nursing and the nurse.
nursing, which keeps the lights on.
Well, and I'm not your average nurse either, because I would rather practice holistic nursing. I would rather, practice nutritional nursing, all the all the things, but I do know that Western medicine has a place. I've had to have a surgery or two, and I'm grateful there were surgeons. Now that one is called introspection, because
Gorgeous.
it's reminiscent of being born again. And that's what my name means. Renee means reborn. And I've always felt I rebirth myself over and over and over again throughout this lifetime. We all do. We recreate ourselves, reinvent ourselves, just to find that best self.
Wow.
That's where we hiked 3 hours, because I had been on a hike a few months earlier with a group, and I saw that, and it looked like a womb. And so when we went, and we were dragging suitcases of fabrics behind us, and I kept saying, it's got to be just around the corner. But what was so cool is right before that, we found a waterfall that still had water and was still, so we were so hot, and when we did that, we came back and we just went skinny dipping in the waterfall and got
Yeah, so that's just a little taste of these very, as you say, brings out the essence, and it's so sensual, so beautiful, as was this whole presentation, everything tonight. I know we've gone a little bit over, but I want to thank everybody for coming.
Oh, look at the goddess.
Wow. Where's Pine Valley?
Pine Valley is about 30 minutes north of St. George.
Beautiful. I'm trying to give it a like, but I can't give it a like on as it's on Facebook. But wow, goddess self images, beautiful. Talk about currency.
Mm.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Gorgeous.
You have to
Thank you,
close.
Renee. This has
Renee.
been wonderful. Just
Sure.
wonderful evening.
Just
Thank you,
beautiful.
Renee. It was a beautiful presentation
Thank
from
you.
the heart, and it was, you even brought out the goddess of a PowerPoint. That's really cool.
I was afraid I was going to be showing my type A personality, but I really love the learning styles, visual and kinesthetic and auditory. And I thought, I'm going to hit everybody.
You did.
I think you
was
did.
awesome. Very
to see
good.
you, goddess.
Well, as we usually close, we say, may peace prevail on earth.
Peace prevail on earth.
I wanted to tell you,
Ellen.
Noel, I
Yeah.
just drove by a school on my way to work, and I hadn't looked this way. I was always looking this way. I looked over, and there's like 6 peace poles in the playground for these kids. And I thought, I gotta take a picture of that for Noel and Bob. But there are a lot of peace poles in Denver.
Yeah, you should take a picture, but you can post it on their what is it? worldpeace.org.
Worldpeace.org.
I don't know if the kids made them, like painted them. They're all painted, and
Wonderful.
they do say the words.
Wonderful.
Cool. Yeah, get that picture on worldpeace.org. They'll love it.
On the front page, there's a place there to put it on the global virtual map.
Mhm.
Okay, text me that.
Okay,
won't.
will do.
Okay. Okay.
Wonderful.
Good night, everybody.
Great
Love
evening,
you.
everyone.
See you soon, Sheila. Bye.
Yes.